to the latest episode of Rivercity 93, brought to you by Roughnecks Guards, Icarus FC, and of course, for the culture. This is your host, as always, Mr. Elliot Barr, and is joining me is a man that is going to be using all the promotional art going forward for the last 6 games of the season. Is Mr. Matt Myers. How are you doing, sir? Also, I like the haircut. Looking nice.
I guess it's been a little while. My voice is still shot. Took in a healthy dose of a 94th minute smoke on a Saturday night. Totally worth it though. Wouldn't change a thing. Got some clothes that didn't get the full Braden Troyer effect on them, but definitely will have long lasting red remnants. But like I said, wouldn't change it.
So is it fair to say that Hernan is like now your favorite player, or you're at least his favorite friend? Because he jumped into your arms like it was like a Fabio like movie.
I mean, who wouldn't want it? Who wouldn't want to jump in my arms?
This is also true. You're a very huggable person.
I mean, somebody had to be there to catch him.
Yeah, hey, you are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I was not there to do my job. But also, when I go on date nights, we win. Maybe I need to go on more date nights.
I mean, yeah, it's been nice knowing you.
Yeah, sure. Also joining us is the guy that played all the drums in Section O, but still has the best hair on this podcast because it's probably all the best. It's Mr. Shanir Duran II. How are you doing, bud?
Hey, I'm doing great. Unfortunately, I wasn't at the game, but I was wilding out on my couch at the 94th minute.
So I have to ask, who went off more, you, Benny, or the dog? And how pissed off was Courtney at that moment?
Okay, well, I wasn't loud because Benny was already asleep, but I think it's a close call between me and Kuma. Kuma started jumping around because he saw me jumping around. He had no idea why, but he was jumping around.
Humans moving. Let's go. Attack. Guys, first of all, let's just start off with it. We got to win. We need to win after last week. It feels good to be in a win column no matter how we got it. We got to win. 3 points is always positive, right?
Yes.
All right. What's your biggest takeaway from this? We're going to talk about the match and how kind of things broke down, but what is your biggest takeaway from this game moving forward with 6 games left to go?
They found a way to get a win. That has to be the biggest takeaway. That game was all but a must win. 6 games left. Still, what is it? Technically 2 points out of a playoff spot right now, but don't get a win 4 points out, 6 to go. That becomes a lot tougher. So they kept head above water. They found a way to fight through to scrap in, get a win at almost the very last second. It would have been easy to kind of close up shop, say, all right, well, got a point at least. We'll make sure you put your head that way. But one point wasn't going to do us any good. So I don't care how it gets done the rest of the way. Keep finding a way to get the 3 points, and things will take care of themselves.
Yeah. What about you, Shanir?
Much of the same for me. It's just the biggest takeaway for me is there's still some fight. This performance, even though it wasn't the greatest performance, but they showed that they were taking it to Toronto. They fed off of being at home, and that by any means necessary we're gonna try and get something out of this game. And like Matt said, there wasn't that familiar shut up shop with 5 minutes left and say, all right, well, we'll just take the point and we'll just close everything down. They kept trying. They kept going. They kept trying. They kept trying to figure out what was going to work. And I mean, it was It was a bit of an emotional roller coaster, but yeah, my biggest takeaway is they still have fight, and there's still fight in these guys, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah. I think one of my biggest takeaway is a player that, I've got on his case a little bit this year is Neil Vignos. I don't know what it is about when he plays Toronto, but he turns into like prime, like Xavi. Like a lot of the passes he had were games he didn't look lethargic on the ball. He looked like, the creative midfielder that we actually brought. And he had a danger free kick chance. He set up a chance for Chizagi early on. Was it any player in the game that stood out to y'all as the guy that, oh snap, he's came to play today?
I think a lot of them came to play. I thought Calvo had one of his better games, of the season. He was, especially getting forward, he was a lot more involved, I thought, than he had been previously. So, I was impressed there. Again, maybe he knew Elliott wasn't there, so he could be able to, feel a little more comfortable in the stands with everything. So, but yeah, I thought he played well. I thought, so it's the same team that played, as last week, to start off with, but the significant change was he moved Bolduc into the middle and Ethan Bryant out wide, which I was kind of surprised at first because we haven't seen Bryant play out on the wing, and he was fine out there. But I thought Bolduc, was a lot more effective inside. So I mean, we're running into that, problem, if you want to call it that, of more of our guys are more effective at that inside position, and that right wing position is, I don't want to say it's a problem spot, but we haven't had anybody that really grab it and thrive.
It's a wasteland right now, to be honest with you. It's kind of like a wasteland.
I'm not willing to go that far on it. Like, there's still some stuff happening out there, but it's not like Bolaños where he has just put a lockdown on the left winger role.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like we have, like you're saying, like we have a lot of players that are great inside. We don't have anyone that thrives at that right winger spot. It's either like we put a striker there, like Olex, and he's kind of like a striker, or you're putting a midfielder at that winger spot, and it's not, it's not the same. I think that's been probably the poorest position overall for us this year.
Yeah, I feel that's the case in a lot of situations and with a lot of teams. When you look at some of the better wingers around around the game, most of them are left wingers. um, the only one I can think of the only two I can think of off the top of my head are Sancho and Salah. I mean, for the most part, I think it's that the appeal of being able to cut inside and create something in the middle with your right foot. I guess since most players are right-footed, but you do find that right wingers, like natural, that's my position, that's what I do all day long. Right wingers are very hard to find. So, and I think, I mean, the kickers were it's basically an image of what's going on in the game right now. That's very hard to find. So we're struggling with that situation too. So we're literally taking anyone who can survive on that wing and just putting them there. Olex, Boldo, and like this past Saturday, Bryant.
Also, another player that kind of impressed me was Zaka. He did a very good job. I mean, you can tell the difference in this game versus the first Toronto game where we didn't have anyone that could put out fires in the midfield, and Zaka did a very good job of that. For those who don't remember, the first game we were out with Tizagi, Zaka, Hernan, Olex, Ivan, and Calvo, correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in this game, all of those guys essentially were on the field tonight, and all the guys essentially made the difference, especially Zaka. Like, I think he did a great job of just controlling the midfield. I know they had a lot of passes in the on half. We didn't have a lot of passes in their opposition, but it's something we haven't seen out of the kickers a lot of this year is they took their time on the ball. Like, granted, there were moments where they were rushing, but it didn't feel as if they were just passing the ball just to try to get up as quick as they can and then lose possession. They were kind of a little bit more patient. Matt, did you guys see anything different? Or
well, I mean, in the second half, first half was a lot of the same.
Yeah.
still had a couple good chances that came out of that because, like you said, Neal able to spring Emmy, got a shot saved, a couple other little quick strike things that we see all year long. But yeah, second half I think it was a combination of the urgency. I was kind of surprised Toronto didn't try to push forward more because a draw wouldn't have done them any good either. But they didn't seem too pressed by needing to get a win for some reason. I don't know. That's weird, but whatever. We'll take it. But yeah, the second half a lot more fluid. Using the flanks a little more consistently. Some more connecting balls. Like there were still plenty of times where we got the default diagonal ball over the top. Let Bolaños try to run onto it. He gets caught offside 3 or 4 times. It's not like that got erased out of the system by any means. But we had far more of the ball than we're used to in a long time.
Yeah, most definitely. Very true about that. It's kind of weird because I could have watched this game live. I went back and watched the game, but my initial reaction to getting like the football alerts and seeing like, we had 50, 58% possession. I'm like, who is this team? What are we doing? This doesn't look real. What's your thoughts, Shanir?
It was different, and especially after I know I wasn't part of the hot take episode last week, but
we inspired them.
To be honest with you, I wouldn't be. That's what it seems like, because one thing that I was noticing with last week's game was when I thought about it, I realized that this team is slipping back into the pre-Bulow era, the Lee Kalishaw era of vanilla, boring soccer, maybe popping a goal and hunker down, no shots allowed from outside the 18. And it felt like, okay, did we go backwards? And this game was it's like the team woke up and was like, okay, that's not who we are, and that's not who the Richmond Kickers are anymore. And they really showed. The first half, like you said, Matt, it was a little touch and go, but they really changed it up in the second half. They really, really, really turned it on, and looked like a completely different team.
Let's take a moment. Let's talk about this second half. Oh, what were you going to say, Matt? My fault.
I was going to say I was just pulling up, some of the stats. I think it might be a little overstated how different it was. So the passes, 314 accurate passes, still 215 of them were in our own half.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. Like I said, there were a lot of passes in our own half. But right. It's like it's different where we're like, how can I explain it?
Still 71 long balls in the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're gonna have the long ball. I don't know. Maybe just seeing that kind of possession from the kickers, where we're actually winning possession, which we haven't seen in a long time. You're kind of just like, oh, this is different. Like
Yeah, I think the part to be encouraged by was, the shots they were, taking, shots. Yeah, some of them missed, whatever, big deal. But they weren't afraid to let it rip.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's not. Well, like I was going to say, let's talk about the second half versus last week when we saw against Revs 2, where it was just a catastrophic second half. This week, you can see from everyone's reaction, it seemed very inspired. It seemed like this team was up for it. And you have to think, like, is this a part of the Kickers being at home, or do you think it was just against a different opponent and the natural talent of the Kickers actually showed in this game?
I think it could be a combination of things. I think part of it is obviously going to look different than the last game because A, home, B, had the full team available. C, the situation, right? A month and a half ago, whenever that last one was, we were still far enough out that any result could have been fine. In this game, it wasn't the case. So you can go out there first half, play cautious, make sure that you don't dig yourself a hole. Second half came along. There's no chance that Darren didn't let them know that we have to get 3. It's not a question. We'll roll the dice. If it burns us, it burns us. But you got to go get the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing for me was, isn't that how it should have been? Like literally every game this season. I mean, and that's what was promised to us. I mean, you alluded to that last week, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was promised to us, and
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I think there's a difference in mentality when that okay, it would be nice to win, versus we absolutely need to win, and we are screwed if we don't win. The guys aren't dumb on the team; they know, when that. Yes, technically in the grand scheme of things, game 3 or game 4 of the season matters just as much as game 22. But psychologically, game 22 is more of a do or die type of scenario where you don't have that wiggle room anymore, and you have to push a lot harder, to get it done.
Yeah. There's no more at this point now. There's no more of playing it close to your chest, because we're not secured in a playoff spot. If we are, you play it a little bit different. You play it different based on where you're at. Like Chattanooga, I mean, if they lock up the number 1 seed, probably aren't for the rest of the season. The next 5 games aren't going to go out of their way to go win a game. You might see a little bit more rotation versus Richmond that has to, get in. It's full blown all out attack, more or less, if they're not already leading in the game.
Right, and it's like Chattanooga, with a full couple of weeks coming up. Them or in Omaha can have the luxury of being able to rotate players now. We don't have that luxury. Darren, pretty much has to go best available each game and just hope that the guy's legs don't fall off.
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's what it's going to be, man. That's what it's going to be. I want to give a shout out. Akira Fitzgerald, man. I don't know how he keeps doing it. Every week there is a save that I sit there and I'm like, there is no good God way he should be saving this, man. The one he had one in the 80th minute, one in the 86th minute. Like, and these aren't, I want to say they're point blank range, but they're, very like quick oncoming balls where if you're off by like a millisecond, that ball's in the back of the net,
I mean,
yeah, with Akira, one thing I have noticed is that, especially with in comparison to some of the other top keepers in the league, you see a lot of the Superman dive saves, not with Akira, and that shows a different class of keeper who has the awareness and the knowledge of where to position himself so he doesn't have to stretch his body, he doesn't have to throw himself across the goal to make a save because he's positioning himself so well. He still has those reflexes and you see them, and especially like in this game, those 2 saves that he made that you alluded to, he didn't have to move that far off of where he was because his positioning was perfect. And then on top of that, those reflexes were insane. I think, Akira is top of the league in clean sheets.
Yeah.
And saves per game. He's really shown a consistency ever since he put on the kicker shirt. He first put on a kicker shirt. He's shown a serious consistency in his performance, and it's commendable.
Yeah, it very much is, man. It much is, and you got to. He definitely more than likely saved the team. Right now, he's the league with clean sheets with 8. How many sheets do you think gets by the end of this year? Around you 6 games left. You play Chattanooga, Omaha, North Texas, twice in FC Tucson. How many clean sheets do you think Akira Fitzgerald finished the year out with?
I think he might be able to hit the double digits. He might get to 10.
I think we'll probably get 2 more. I mean, the danger is that one of them could be a 0-0 draw, which
that's the danger. The blue pill, you get double-digit clean sheets, but it's going to be 0-0. On the other hand, it's like He might not have any more clean sheets, but you might win a bunch of games.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, sorry, sacrificing your stat line there, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you got to take one for the team there.
Oh, he would say the same thing.
Yeah, he's like, I don't need to lead in clean sheets. I want to make the playoffs.
So let's just say in a row, risk playoffs, Akira does have double-digit clean sheets. Do you think this is the year that you can make the case that Akira is keeper of the year, or do you think he gets shifted again?
I mean,
I think you have to make that. I mean, most saves in a game, most clean sheets. What's the argument there? You know what I mean?
I mean, most saves just means your defense lets up a lot of shots. I mean, the argument against is, Nuhu's only allowed 16 all year.
Yeah.
The argument is, what's his name? Trellick and, Chattanooga also has really good numbers. And they're on, successful teams. I mean,
yeah, but the thing is, one thing that is very telling is that the fact that he leads in saves per game and leads in clean sheets. Normally, you get the opposite. Normally, a goalkeeper on a strong team that gets the most clean sheets will be in the lower tier of saves per games, because what helps a goalkeeper get clean sheets is a good defense in front of him. Akira is doing it with a defense that has mental lapses, that has the odd mistake each half that he has to come and save them from, and he does it time and time again. So he is not only carrying that clean sheet record, he's not only carrying the team, he is the sole, probably not the sole reason, but the main reason why we have that many clean sheets.
Yeah.
So that is a big sign.
Oh, well, just to give you a little point of reference. So 2019, Akira had 9 clean sheets. No, how that year ended. And last year, Akira had 3. So he's almost at where he's kind of at that point. The record, if you want to take it as a record, is 14 by Dallas Jays in 2019 for most clean sheets in the season.
Yeah, and Nuhu's only one behind right now. I can't imagine Omaha's not going to have another clean sheet or two, hopefully not against us. I think it's Nuhu's to lose at the moment. Because let's be realistic. End of season awards almost always gravitate towards teams at the top of the table.
Yeah.
And usually the keeper that has the most clean sheets usually wins.
Or best goals against average too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to what I was talking about with the clean sheets. It's like when we let them in, the floodgates open, but at the end of the day, the fact that we still have that many clean sheets means that a lot of it is resting on Akira's shoulder. So
yeah, I mean,
at this point, no matter how many clean sheets we pull off, it's not your conventional a whole bunch of clean sheets, top of the league.
Hey, if he ties that record, I will be first person in his corner to be a keeper of the year, first team all league.
Yeah.
And also, we're probably in good shape then if we don't give up another goal all year.
Yeah.
The only thing that is a little concerning about Akira is that his saves per match has gone up each year. So under 2019, 0.8, 26 games played. Last year, obviously, it was a short season, but it was 3.1. And then this year, it is almost 3.3. So, yeah, this year altogether, he had 70 total saves. 2020, he had 50. 2019, he had 73. So he's kind of like on par, but the amount of shots he's seeing per match is slowly climbing up. Is that a worrying sign to you guys? Or are you guys like, nah, it's just the way how the defense is?
Well, I mean, it's the way it is at this point. It's not going to change with 6 games left. But I prefer the the more spectator version of Akira Fitzgerald, if possible.
That's very true. Very true. And the other person that kind of shined in this game, of course, Mr. Emiliano Shizagi. He scores his 13th goal of the year, leads the Golden Boot race. Guys, same kind of question that you have for Kira. Where do you think he finished in the Golden Boot race this year? How many goals do you think he finishes out with this year?
I'll put him. I'll put him up there at 16.
16.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, 16, 17 for me. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you look at the course of the year, he's been going through hot spells, right?
Mm-hmm.
Started off the year kind of slow, then started to tear it up for a while. Had another couple games where not much happened for him and the rest of the team, to be totally honest. So hopefully this is the start of another hot streak. He'll be able to pick up 3-4 more goals the rest of the way. Again, the bigger eternal question is who's going to help him, fill in the gaps when it's not just him scoring. I mean, Bolaños looks like he might be turning a corner, with that, but even then, you might want to have a third option available.
True, very true. Well, I mean, who do you guys think? I mean, of course, Bolaños is the second leadest for this team, and like we have Matt talked about last week, he's the one that probably has the biggest jump into this year. But who do you think might be that third option? For me personally, I would love it to really be Beal. I would love to see him get two to three more assists in this 6-game stretch. Maybe Ethan Bryant, he can help out a little bit more. What do you guys?
I think with Ethan Bryant, you're going to get a lot more. I'm not sure if TSS coined the phrase, but MLS assists. Assist of the assist because of where he sits on the field and where his positioning is. He's further back. He's more at the beginning of a build-up, or the early stage of a build-up. He's the one who starts it off, but it then leads to I would expect Neil to get far more assists than Ethan, but I do see Ethan being involved in a lot of goals. He may not get the direct assist, but he definitely will be involved in a lot of our goals throughout the rest of the season, and if he stays with us, if we have him the next season as well, because he just has that desire to split the lines with passes, and that's extremely dangerous. And that's something we need more of, and then the more he works at it, the better he'll get at it.
So both of y'all are talking about assists. Who's scoring the goals though? If it's not Emmy,
So
that's the problem.
On the team. See, I think majority might be Emmy, because I think Emmy will hit. I can see him getting 16, 17, somewhere around that.
Right, but what I'm saying there is, let's say we're right, he gets 16, 17. That's 3 to 4 goals. We have 6 games left.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. I can see Emmy,
at the very least 2 more goals.
Right.
So if you take out Emmy, I have faith in Bolaños, and then I have a little bit of faith in Olex. Okay. Outside of that, I like a catch-22. Like,
so,
I
think the X factor moving forward for us, and might be the determinant of how the season goes, is Matt Bolduc. Because when he is on and playing well, this team gets another dimension that they don't have. When he's not playing well, it's not always our greatest game. And if we're going to see him, back in the middle, again, we saw earlier, in the season, when Stanley was, in the middle, but even when Matt was in the middle, before, we had that guy who's, a lot more willing to be, forward driving into the box, into the attack, take some of their shots. The attack's been a lot more fruitful and a lot more effective, for us. So I think if Bolduc can get himself going, pitch in, a goal or two down the stretch, help to make things happen, I think that's going to be, the potential difference maker between, potentially making the playoffs and being dead in the water.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think one thing that has really hurt us for the past 2 years is the fact that Emmy has the ability to create something, but also Emmy has the uncanny ability to just be a fox in the box. And we don't really have anyone else who can just get those dirty goals, who could just be in the right place and put anything on it. Heck, put a shoulder on it or a chest, score with your gut. Like he has that ability to just sniff out those opportunities and pounce on them. And we don't really have anybody else who comes anywhere near that level of instinct in the box.
I think
And all of our
person.
other players who can score need to create something. So you look at someone like Bolaños, he needs to be coming at a defender with pace, take a defender on, burn a defender, then get himself in a position to score. Olex is kind of the same way. Matt, it kind of needs to be a set situation, not a set piece, but a set situation in which it's like this is an intentional pass or an intentional cross to Matt for him to finish, or an intentional through ball for him to run onto. And like, for example, let's just look at the goal this week. Like Terzaghi, I mean, it was just a scrum in the box. Moran just put the ball in there and he just got something on it and put it in the back of the net. So who else can do that? Who else can give me that? And I don't really have an answer for that.
I do love how Emmy, not a tall guy, keeps getting these goals off of corners.
I know, right?
Okay. So I'm glad we talked about it because we can talk about this right now. I went back and looked at this goal maybe like 6-7 times. I don't think Emmy got to it at all. Like, I really think this is Zaka's goal, and I think Emmy influenced the play, and I think the goalkeeper reacted to Emmy, and thus how the ball goes in. But I don't see it.
I thought Emmy headed it, and I think it might have really been like an own goal winning off one of their guys.
So I thought that too at first, but it's like, all right, so I just kept like clicking to slow it down. So when the ball comes, it's like Emmy turns his head, but at the moment where I stopped it, the ball isn't close enough to Emmy's head. Because the way how Emmy's heading it, that ball shouldn't go down. It should go like, I don't know, it's weird to explain, but it's like
headed
a ping pong ball.
Flicked it on downwards.
Yeah,
you can't use still screens, because if you look at it as a still screen of anything, it looks like nobody ever gets fouled. It looks like nothing ever happens.
Or someone looks like they got fouled when they didn't.
No, but I'm just saying, like, because I really was trying to see, like, because I thought he headed it down, but it didn't look like it. Because usually when you head the ball, you know how it's like that ripple effect, like that ball changes direction, and that ball never changed direction. It just kept going down, and maybe it was an own goal, and someone just kicked it into the back. I don't know. I'll let Emmy take it, but I don't know if it's his.
Yeah, it looked to me at the times I watched it, he headed it down, that it was going towards goal. I mean, something happened in there. I don't know if there was another touch or there wasn't another touch, what was going on, but it cleared the ball. I mean, who cares? Because the ball found its way in.
It did. And that's when we had the glorious celebrations where they're running full steam into your arms.
Yeah, he was the last one to the pile.
Oh yeah, no, they came in. I from watching it from home, you couldn't really see too much of what happened there because
they turned the lights off.
Yeah, because they cut the lights off and they have those flashing red lights when
sorry for anyone that has like epilepsy.
Yeah. No, so what happened is Emmy and Olex come over, they try to jump up don't really do that well. I can't remember who was able to grab them. Most of the rest of the team kind of comes over like half jumps up and everything. And I mean, it was a big pile. Like it's been a while since there was a big celebration like that. I mean, obviously not last year because of hardcore COVID and everything.
Yeah.
19 there wasn't a whole lot
lightweight
to
COVID
celebrate. You what?
It's lightweight COVID now. We dropped the weight class.
Yeah. Lightweight COVID.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a real thing. Okay, Bradley Beal, Kyrie. It's real. Get your shot. Not the point.
I love you for that. I love you for that.
Yeah,
but
they all come over. Everybody's kind of grabbing on to each other. Just one big mush. Olix gets a Red Army hat put on him. I think he's wearing it like halfway back to the midfield, either before he realized he even had a hat on him at that point or before he took it off. It was a good time. The crowd overall was into it, so all the granted you can never really tell what's going on in the rest of the stadium when you're in section O, but you kind of looked over and you could actually see people clapping around with the Richmond kickers chanting and everything, not like one section over, like actually like to midfield and beyond.
Yeah, so the library got loud.
Oh, that's cute. That's adorable.
Yeah, amazing what an exciting finish can do for the crowd.
Yeah, right. Probably need more of that.
I mean, I can do without the 92 minutes of frustration leading up to it.
Yeah, that's a Richmond thing. You gotta take it. You gotta take it this one.
That's it comes with the territory.
Oh, I'm used to it. Doesn't mean I want it.
It's built into the DNA. I guarantee you ask Kickers fans, if you ask 10 Kickers fans, 9 of us are going to be like, it's hard, but it's worth it. Like we're going to express it in some kind of way. Like it's not easy, but it's worth it.
It definitely is. I mean, and I think that's how everyone feels. Like anyone who really loves their soccer team, their soccer club, their football club, it's one of those things that even if you're, I mean, you kind of saw some of it, and I know a lot of people. It's a tough watch, but the Sunderland Till I Die series on Netflix.
Well, that was
awesome.
That was a great watch.
Yeah, no, it was a good watch, but after a while, you just start to feel bad. But then you look and you see that through all of this, those fans still want to go see that team play. They still
what I need to know about that documentary is how it plays when you don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can feel that there are probably a lot of people that's how they watched it, because they probably just came across it on Netflix and were like, what's this? And probably have never watched a Premier League game ever in their, or a championship game ever in their life or something.
I don't know that, but
you'll get a few.
All the people I know, soccer fans, so I don't have like that perspective on it, because you might see where it's going in season 1, but you think season 2, all right, this is going to be the turnaround and not Crater 2.0.
Season 2 was just epic. I swear, season 2 is the funniest thing I've ever watched, because they really believe like, oh, we're going up, and I think it's around like midway through season 2, you can tell it's an epic failure, and the camera crew was like, keep rolling.
But they had techno music on the way out then.
Oh gosh.
Oh god. Oh my god. For those who have never, if you've never watched Sunderland Till I Die and you need a laugh, just watch episode 2. Just watch episode 2 of season 2. You'll die laughing. I guarantee you. It is hilarious.
To be honest with you, I think I got more out of Sunderland Till I Die than the Tottenham All or Nothing. Like
Those documentaries aren't good when they're with good teams or good players.
Oh,
Because well,
Well,
what are you going to learn?
that's arguable with the Tottenham all or nothing, because I mean that was a pretty dumpster fire crash at the end, anyways, as well.
Yeah. Anyway, bring it full circle though. Let me ask you all this: so, if the Kickers, had a documentary, who would you think would be the three like most main characters, interesting characters on the show?
Oh, all right. Mika, first and foremost. I think Mika would be the
Yes.
star. He would be the star. Mika. Secondly,
To be honest with you, I would say Darren. I mean, he does have.
no.
He
I don't
seems
think so.
like the type who has a lot of personality, not
Because
in front of the interview.
Because when you think star, you're thinking about someone that wants to be on camera.
Yeah.
So Mika Bolaños, he would be next. He would blow up. And
I'd
what's
say
the other
Olex.
guy? No, Nathan. That runs the team social media accounts. Nathan. Those would be my three.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for me, Mika definitely. Bolaños in terms of a player, absolutely. I don't know. I have a feeling because we don't get to see what happens during training. Like we don't get to see the training sessions, but I have a feeling that in training, Monty's probably a riot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's one I was going to put on the list
because he already is our poop house king. So I have a feeling that during practice, he's probably one of those guys that would draw the camera at almost every training session in the locker room. Yeah, Monty for me is number 3.
Okay, all right. So I had Monty on my list, and let me tell you all what the real answers are now. I'm going to cheat on my rules a little bit here. So one, I'm fine with Monty being one of them, but maybe he can get cut if necessary. I think you got the Luke and Bolduc bromance storyline.
So you actually doing storylines in this? Oh my god! Writing out scripts.
What kind of documentary doesn't have a storyline?
Okay, all right. So we got the bromance. What you got at number 2?
Yeah. Well, look, let's be real. I don't think Luke's going to be shy around the camera.
Oh no.
So you got that going. I think you play into the Argentine connection and the Emmy kind of family element in there, because what kind of producer isn't going to love the gold that is his daughter? She's got to be cutest kids, like unofficial team mascot.
That is such a good point.
Because and they got that little Argentine community, because you always see them with Zaka and his wife there. You follow the social media; they're always all together. So I think that could be a really interesting element of settling in a new country, new culture. I think you get them to open up, especially if you can just plaster subtitles on them and not have to have them speak English. You probably get a lot more out of them.
Yes.
Right.
All right. I'm liking this so far. We got a good 6 episodes right now.
Yeah, and then here you go. I think who's the guy who's going to probably love the camera, more than anyone else? It's the guy hosting this podcast, Elliot Barr. we got the guy who gets himself engaged at halftime of a game on the field. We got a guy who is not afraid of the attention, who starts himself up a podcast. You watch all these documentaries; they always get the fan perspective in there. Full well out of any of us 3, you're the most outgoing. You're the one that's going to be excited about it. It's not me.
Oh my god,
and I'm not there enough.
I mean, you might have to clean up that personal Twitter of yours a little bit before you get the big public run on that
Yeah,
or anything.
definitely.
But
Oh,
the character development there.
that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
You got to think about community. Yeah.
All right, there you go. I like it. We got a good solid 8 episodes.
That's a good solid season right there.
Exactly. I know what I'm doing here.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I like
also,
it.
Of course, you like it. I just put you on camera.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, man. Yo, we might have to make this its own separate segment of the show. Oh, that's all right. Well, let's go ahead. Let's wrap it up, y'all. Because
we gotta talk about what's coming up here.
I know. I'm just still laughing at.
All right, I got this. So, all right. Next game coming up Saturday. We got Chattanooga. Look, every game's important at this point. If there's any game that's less important, it probably, this one may be away to Omaha, but still got to probably get at least a point out of this one, because if you look at the standings right now, 2 points off a playoff spot. You got a game in hand on a couple of teams here and there, but if you do the math, we're looking at 37 or 38, kind of being the cut line at the moment. So that means at least 3 wins, maybe 3 wins and a draw. So there's not a lot of wiggle room. And I say this game's probably one of the least important because you have 2 Madison, 1 North Texas. Those are the direct competitors, for one of these playoff spots. So if you got to win 3 games, you pick those 3 games because that also denies those teams points. Ultimately, Chattanooga and Omaha are irrelevant to us at this point in terms of the standings. So if you get something off them, great. But if you have to pick a game where you're not getting something, you have to pick those 2 and hope that the other results don't completely screw you over, from other teams like they did this weekend. Thanks, Chattanooga. Way to give up a 95th minute, full field, solo run goal. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah. Also, the refs are blind in Union Omaha FC Tucson, but that's a story for a different day.
Yeah. Omaha, doesn't final plays on not a baseball field and doesn't win at home.
Shocking. So, to your point, Matt, if the Kickers can only afford to lose 2 games the rest of the year, looking at the scenarios, if we go 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, there's a 17% chance we get in. If we go 3 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, 76. 4 wins, 2 losses, 99% chance we're in. Now, the most likely scenario, there's only one scenario in which we lose 3 games, but we have to win 3, and there's a 50% chance we get it. So with all that being said, I'm pretty sure all of us believe the end goal is to get 10 more points, possibly 11 or 12, secure a playoff spot, be in there, and be dusted.
Yeah, minimum 9. Yeah,
minimum 9.
If you get a couple draws here and there that work out in our favor, like I know New England, Madison play a couple more times. If I think there you have to root for either 2 draws or 1 team wins twice, and kind of craters the other team out.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting coming down the stretch. I'm not going to ask questions because I'm pretty sure all of us in our heart of hearts wants to see this team pick up 10 more points. I'm not going to ask you guys where do you see these 10 points coming from, but do you see any scenario if you had to put any amount of money on it? Do you see us winning out, getting 6 straight?
No.
Okay, 5.
Yeah.
No.
I think I can get Shanair. I can get you to get 5.
No.
Are you saying 5 in a row or 5 out of 6?
5 out of 6.
No.
Still no.
Okay, 4.
There's a world where that happens. I don't
know
how likely it is, but it's not out of possibility.
So y'all feel more comfortable with 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it needs to be 3. To be honest with you, 3 wins and if we can out of the other three get at least a draw or two draws, I think we should be safe.
So three
For me,
wins,
but
three
one
wins, two
thing that
draws, and one loss is 94.5%. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to put that in there. That's automatically. I mean, not automatically, but there's a difference between going. Make sure I say this right. There's a difference in between going 3 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, which is 76%. 3
which
wins,
is
2
still pretty
draws, 1
good.
loss goes up to 95.
Yeah, if you get to 39, it's a lot better.
Yeah, but one thing I do even in our toughest year 2 years ago, we had the habit of I saw this last year and the year before. We had the habit of kind of throwing a monkey wrench in the league leaders party. Um, well, 2 years ago, North Texas just ran away with it, and no one could touch North Texas. No one could touch. What was his name? What was
They
the
had a lot
kid?
of guys.
No, that the kid on who was on North
They're-
Texas. Huh?
Ricardo
They're all
Pepi?
kids.
Pepe. There you go. No one could touch Pepe that year, and he was just lighting up the league. But especially last year with Greenville running away with the league, we had the drop on them whenever we faced them. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for us this coming Saturday to get a result because we've done it before, and them being the top of the league hasn't scared us in the past. The Although on the flip side, uh, Chattanooga for the past 2.5 years has been our banana peel. To be honest with you, they've really given us a hard time, and it seems like it's almost like they figured us out at every season. So yeah, it could go either way, but I'm still hopeful, especially after a shocking result like this Saturday, that last minute, last gasp goal that can really set the adrenaline level up and swing the momentum in our favor. And if it can do that, then we could probably get a result against Chattanooga. If they harness that energy, harness that momentum, and push it into a result against Chattanooga.
Yeah, I mean, Chattanooga's not infallible by any means. They've had, yeah, they got burned this weekend, but they've had so many other games where they pulled one out of nowhere in the final minutes and all that. So, they have not been some kind of buzzsaw at the top of the league by any means. They've, you can make the argument that you create your own luck, but there's been a lot of good fortune coming their way at the end of games. So, yeah, I mean, if you ask me right now, can we get a draw? Absolutely, we can get a draw. Can we get a win? Absolutely. Is it going to be tough? Yeah.
Yeah. Either way,
It's gonna be tough for sure.
It's going to be tough.
Guys, before we wrap up, of course, anything else before we wrap up? I don't know why I said it like that, but yeah, anything before we wrap up?
I mean, 3 home games left. Get out there, enjoy them, while we can. We got a Saturday, then a Wednesday game coming up, and then a little break before the last game of the season. Unfortunately, good chance that it's going to be just those 3 because odds are make the playoffs. It's probably going to be an away game at this point. So I don't care if you got a date night. I don't care if you got kids, any other kind of nonsense like that. You got 18 kids out on the field and on the bench, to be able to be out there and support too. Get it done.
18 kids. Oh man. All right, let me go start buttering up Electa now. Make this happen. It's gonna be fun. Anything else from you, Shanir?
No, just like Matt said, come out and support. For those 3 home games, let's make sure those 3 home games are 3 wins. Let's try and make those 3 wins.
Remember, 3 wins, playoff odds go up. Go up.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And look, you get out there, you have an awesome time, you scream your lungs out. You got to have a really, really attractive sounding voice like mine is right now. That's still struggling 2 days later. Oh, good.
Yep. Yeah. Fun time.
Well, as always, listeners, we just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to our show. As always, you can listen to the show on any podcast host. You can listen to us on YouTube the following day. And always take the time out of your day. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram at Rivercity93, and follow us respectively if you want to. With that being said, we'll holler at you guys later. Be safe and be easy and all.